Hey guys, welcome back to the Hill Life Homestead. Today we're going to talk about our beekeeping experience. We're going to start from when we started and kind of walk you guys through the journey that we've had. We have realized that not everybody may be quite as excited as we are about the bees. We've got about 1,300 hours of bee footage. We decided that not everybody may want to see 1,300 hours of bee footage, so we're going to kind of do this video and walk you guys through, again, our journey from kind of where we started to where we are now. She's going to put clips in there as we go along as I talk about the pieces. So let's just get into it. We got our bees last year in April of 2022. We got 2 nukes from Bemis, and a nuke is just basically a small beehive. It's got 5 frames with brood and food, and then a little box that they come in, and then you put them in a hive body that you have at your house. Which is better than getting just a package of bees. So recommendation number 1, if you're getting into bees, get a nuke rather than a package. You got a lot better.
Already established.
Yeah, they're established. You got a lot better chance of them sticking around. So, and if you've already bought a beehive or any kind of beekeeping supplies, it is expensive. So you don't want them, absconding from your hive and leaving out. So we bought, again, 2 nukes. We brought them home. We had 2 hives painted up. We had a blue hive and a gray hive. So that was the first 2 hives we started out with. We've got about 400 inspections, it seems like, on those 2 hives. But we inspected them once a week. And really just looking, make sure things are good. In any inspection, you want to either see the queen, see fresh eggs, kind of read the frames, make sure that just things are going kosher. I think they can hear a dog whining over there.
Oh, I'm sure.
Our basset hound can hear us and see us, so he wants out. But he can't be trusted. He runs away.
Would you say that you are just as excited to get in and do an inspection today as what you were day 1?
It's different. The first few inspections, I had no idea what I was looking for. I was like, ooh, larvae, ooh, the queen. And you learn all those things. And now when we get in there, it's more of a calculated assault. That's the way I kind of see it. We get in there, depending on time of year and what we got going on, we look for certain things. So there's still surprises. Heck, we got in one not too long ago and there was like 7 queen cells in there.
Capped.
So and we still make a lot of mistakes. Don't look at this and my perceived arrogance as I think I know everything there is to know about beekeeping, because I can tell you right now I don't. But anyways, we'll go through this. In the first few weeks, we inspected every Saturday, looked in there. Things were going good, and then we got hit with the drought in 2022. About the time they really started making honey and capping honey, and we were getting excited, thinking we might actually get some honey, because you don't always get honey with a new nuke like that.
Although we didn't really plan on harvesting the first year, but we thought
we might get a frame or 2 to eat ourselves.
There might be a chance,
yeah. But it got really hot and really dry, if you guys remember, or in our part of the country anyways, here in north central Arkansas. But so they started eating their honey, so we decided to just leave what they had. And so really what we ended up having to do was really feed that summer and try to get them enough stuff to make it through the winter, because it was looking slim. I don't know how else to say it. So but made a lot of mistakes. There'll be one piece of this episode in there where I tipped the hive over.
Yes. Oh my gosh, dang it.
And frames and honey and bees went everywhere. It was bad. There was bees and it smelled like honey, and they were trying to kill me. And
Dave said, now is not the time. Put your phone up. Quit recording.
Yeah, there's honey and bees attacking me, and it was just chaos. And she's over. And anyway, I freak out from time to time. But really, we got those 2 hives and did the inspections, made those mistakes. We ended the year by checking for mites and really just buttoning them up for winter time.
We did buy these cool insulated kind of like sweaters for the bees, and basically they're just insulated wraparound that velcros to the hive. And when did we put those on? We probably have to go back and look at our videos, but
probably December.
Yeah, we had some record low temperatures this past year.
Around 0, which is really cold for us. We don't handle that very well. We was worried about our bees handling it, but they did okay. A couple things I forgot, since my memory doesn't work very well. About the time it really it was even before it got hot and dry. We caught a swarm in our little maple tree out here in the yard, which was really cool. You know, we had been hoping we didn't have a swarm trapper out or anything, but our mentor Randy did. He was catching swarms and bragging about it, and we were all jealous and everything. Everybody on Facebook was catching swarms and bragging about it, and we didn't have a swarm, you know, but we caught that. It was really cool. It was a really neat experience seeing that whole ball of bees there. They're really not aggressive or anything. So that's how we got our hive number 3. We put it in a Hoover hive that we bought off the internet, and it's just a wax dipped hive. So that was hive number 3. We called it the Hoover hive. So now we got the gray hive, the blue hive, and the Hoover hive. And at some point after I dumped the bees out on the ground, we split that blue hive. That was the one I dumped out upside down. We set them in these chairs, okay? And the chair tipped over and it just dumped frames everywhere. Honey and mean bees everywhere. But anyway.
They bounced back.
They did bounce back. But we ended up splitting that hive in what you call a walk-away split. And I think we did it backwards. I think you're supposed to take a couple frames of brood, a couple frames of food, and some fresh eggs and put into that new hive.
And let them make a new queen.
Right, let them make a new queen. But, oh, sorry, I'm warping the head. But what we did was we took the queen and hoping to give her the sensation of swarming, because that's what they want to do. I mean, in nature, they build up the hive, they run out of room. The old queen says, hey, we're leaving out of here. They make some swarm cells, which is queen cups and drones in the bottom. They eat a bunch of honey and they head out. And then the remaining bees make a new queen, and then so you got two colonies, and then it just keeps on and on and on, and that's how they, you know, progress their species. But anyways, we split that one, so that gave us, we had the blue hive, the gray hive, the Hoover hive, and then that split hive. Did I say the Randy hive too? So we also got the Randy hive. We call it the Randy hive because that's Tiffany's boss, and he caught another swarm. He just had them going out his ears over there apparently. Well, we got a swarm that our friend Randy caught. We're going to call this Randy's hive. And we moved it over here in the dead of night. So we set it in between our hives, which I was just telling Tiffany. It's extremely fun because we usually work them from the backside. That way the bees are flying out of the entrance away from us, but now we'll have some right in our face. So that'll be fun. We're going to open this thing up in the morning once it's daylight. Tomorrow's Bee Saturday as usual. So we're going to, I don't know if y'all can hear them, but they're mad. I think they're fanning. They all attack me. But open the hole big enough they can get some air in there. Oh, one tried to attack me. Randy gives some mean Russians. I'm out there and he don't even show me.
What'd you hear?
Running in the weeds. You about run away? And he gave us that one. So we ended the season with 5 hives, and we put the little, I can't remember what they're called. They're not blankets, but they're little Velcro things around them that winter. And went in the winter. They had a lot of food. Mistake number 2 I for sure made was I like to do a double deep brood management system. And what that means is putting 2 deeps on top of one another. You can either do it with the 2 or the 1. But we had a bunch of honey left over in these supers, and I was already worried about them starving to death in the winter. So I put some of them super frames, which are shorter frames, into those longer deep boxes. And we come out of winter this winter, and they were building comb on the bottom of them.
It looked really cool.
It was a huge mess, though.
But they worked really hard for us to just destroy it.
Yeah.
It was like building a Lincoln log cabin and then just plowing it over.
For sure. Yeah, I tore it up. But coming into winter 2020 or spring 2023, coming out of winter, we would catch warm days in February when it gets above 55, 60, and they would start coming out some. And that's really the first thing that we really done this year was started feeding them some pollen substitute to really start trying to build that brood up for the year, because they need that pollen to make bee bread or pollen substitute, and that bee bread is what they feed the larvae with, and they can really jumpstart their season. So we come into the season doing that, and that was really all we did. Again in February. In March, when they really started getting after it, I searched the internet because we really thought we had all the hives we wanted at the time, and I was trying to keep from splitting them. You don't want them to split. If you don't want to split them and they want to swarm, you're really between a rock and a hard place. You've got to do something. So I seen this guy on the internet did what he called the Demari method.
Yeah, and I mean, it's tried and true. I mean, it goes back to the 1800s.
Oh yeah, it works, And basically, I took my 2 deep boxes, and I took the one off top and put it way on top, and put a bunch of supers in between to give them.
As well as a queen excluder.
Yeah, to keep because what they'll do is the ones up top will make their own queen because they're so far away from the queen's pheromones down here. It gives them the sensation of swarming. You just got to make sure that you pop all the queen cells up top, and then after they do their thing, then you can put the boxes back together, and you've got this army of bees that are in honey production mode because they've already had that swarm stimuli, and you've already, gave them what they think that they wanted, so they should be good.
And what is it recommended to check the frames to make sure there's not queen cells? How many days?
7 days.
7 days, I thought so.
We missed one. Okay, I missed one. We found a little cup in there, and it hatched out, and I was heartbroken.
Mm-hmm.
But it worked pretty good. We had an army of bees, but we also had our army of extremely angry bees. And so we did mistake number 3 that I can think of. There's probably, I'd have to take my shoes off to count all of them. But
these are the big ones.
These are the big ones. We decided we had to move the bees we had them all in our yard. And
how far is it, or how far was it from here to where we had them?
From our porch where we're sitting now, it was probably 50 yards to the closest hive and 100 yards to the rest of the hives. We had them kind of spread out, but they were somewhat close. But after working,
the closest hive was one of the calmer ones.
Yeah, it was one that we caught, the swarm that we caught. I mean, we just set up a box right there at the little maple tree where we caught them. And they lived there and liked it. And you go up and just watch them carry pollen in, and they'd come out and wave at you and say, "Hi, best friend," and fly on away, and everything was good.
Like that.
But I did that Demari method on 2 hives, our 2 big hives, and they went nuts. You couldn't go out there. You couldn't be in the yard. You'd just be minding your own business, and they would come up and start beating you on top of the head. And if they didn't sting you that time, if you stood around long enough, they would.
No one used to. Our chickens would be out anytime that we didn't worry about them because anytime we would do an inspection, they'd just be out roaming. They'd get close every once in a while, but nothing, and they may have eaten a few bees, but.
Yeah, and we had them out that one time during an inspection, and the bees were particularly angry. We didn't think nothing about it. We always let the chickens out, and the bees killed 3 of our 8 chickens. They're quite traumatic, especially for the chickens.
Yeah.
But we didn't realize it until the next day. It took a little sleuthing to figure out what happened, but we figured it out and decided at that moment we had to move our hives. And there's a rule, again, this is mistake number 3. You can either move your hives less than 3 feet per day or move them over 3 miles, let them be wherever for a couple weeks, and then bring them back to whatever new location you want. Bees are pretty smart. They will geolocate for I don't even know if that's a real term, but anyways, they basically GPS their hive, and then they fly out to find flowers and nectar, and then they know where that's at. Well, if you move their hive, they fly to the new spot, and they automatically go back to the old spot if it's less than 3 miles. Apparently, if it's further than 3 miles, when they fly to the hive, they say, "Hey, the sun's different place than it was," and they'll reorient and come back. But so then we had a few days of catching bees at the old spot and taking them back, which are your forager bees.
Which we knew we would have that for sure. But the alternative was leave them where they were at because really the hillside that we live on, there was no way we could, move them 3 feet, per day, or really move them. We didn't really have anywhere that we could move them 3 miles away.
Yeah. Please take our killer bees for 2 weeks. Right. They won't sting you very many times. Just stay in the house.
They only kill chickens.
Yeah. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Hello. as you can see, it's about to get dark. We're doing a covert mission. We're going to move our bees. It's not recommended to move them more than 3 foot or less than 3 miles, but we can't even go down into our yard ever since I stupidly done the DeMarie swarm control method on our hives.
DeMarie method.
That's what I said, DeMarie method.
Okay.
Huh? What did you say back there? She didn't know what it was, so I told her. Now she says I'm saying it wrong. Whatever. Anyway, we're moving them, and we're going to do it at night. And I'm going to leave them cooped up tomorrow, and then I'm going to put some branches, some cedar branches and things in front of the entrance to keep them. They'll have to bump into that stuff as they come out. Hopefully that'll make them reorient, and they won't all be up here in the yard. So we can't even go outside. Tiffany looks like I beat her. She's got a big whelped up eye where she got stung. I swear that's what happened. She got stung by a bee. And anyway, we're gonna move them as soon as it gets dark. We got Levi coming up, some more muscle.
May lose all of them.
Yeah, they may all die. I don't know. They killed some of our chickens, like when we had them all apart. We have one hive. We think it's a gray hive that is super defensive or aggressive, whatever you want to call it, psycho. But we can't even go down there. So we're gonna move them. Win, lose, or draw. So you guys stay tuned. I think Tiffany's going to try to film it when she's supposed to be driving, so we may end up upside down with bees all over us. I don't know. But we got to go down this big steep hill in the back. We would show you, but we're scared to go by because they'll attack us. So wait until dark. I'm going to duct tape the entrances shut, and I'll leave them, so I'm going to duct tape the entrances shut till we get down there, and then I've got some screen that I'll replace that duct tape, and I'll put that screen for the entrances to give them some airflow and stuff. But I think we got a plan. I've been planning it for days, so I'm sure it'll work out just fine.
And we're gonna collect bees all weekend. The foragers.
We'll put some boxes up where the old hives are sitting. Try to catch our foragers we've got some nuke boxes. We'll catch those in. So
we are not experienced, so if you are a new beekeeper,
we ain't got any honey in 2 years. So all we do is spend money on bees. That's our hobby.
Right.
We're not really beekeepers. We're bee spenders, I guess, or whatever you want to call it.
But we're gonna get honey this year.
Yeah, you betcha. All right, well, that's all I got. You guys stay tuned, and I'm sure you'll see some dark. I'm wearing my bee suit, all right, at night, because I'm afraid I'm gonna ratchet strap them together, but I'm afraid they'll come apart going down the hill, and I don't know. I'm wearing my bee suit, so I haven't got stung in a long time either. So take that.
So, we were prepared to lose some bees and even thought we might lose them completely.
Yeah, we did it early in the year. There's some gimmicks you can do. I tried putting some branches up in front of the entrance, and when they come out, they would allegedly bump into that and reorient.
Yeah, so we did move them at night. We waited until it was dark, till at least pretty much all of the bees had come back, sealed it up, and then, moved them down the hill to where they are now. Then you put what kind of limbs?
Cedar limbs.
Cedar limbs at the entrance, so that when they came out, they bumped into those and really had to do their orientation flight. But still, even with that, they were coming back to where they were. We had a chair set up with our nuke box. And
I probably caught a couple frames worth of bees in each spot. So there's several thousand bees there, but we did it early enough in the season that we were hoping that it didn't affect our honey flow or our honey production, and it seemed to not.
Because those are actually the hives that we pulled from.
So we did that also. The other thing so once we got them down the hill and we lost the bees that we lost, things seemed to be fine. And we did split our Hoover hive. It was getting pretty big, and we decided that the DeMarie method was not the method for us.
Actually, before that was the queen, crazy queen.
Where I squished her?
Yeah.
I squished a queen on purpose. The other thing you can do when you have an overly aggressive hive is to requeen them. And so I found her in there, and I hated to do it because she's a really good laying queen and just a good queen. But
which, if you would have asked us at the beginning of our journey, I don't think you would have ever killed the queen.
No. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And listen, this is not a mistake, but just don't be scared to do things. You think when you get bees that eventually you'll be doing splits and eventually you'll be requeening. The reality is the bees, they work on bee time, And when it's time for things, it's just time for things. And you just got to do them and do them the best of your ability and hope for the best. And we've requeened, we've done multiple splits now, moved eggs from this hive to that hive. We've combined hives. We have, instead of doing splits, we have taken extra bees that we had and put them in another hive, you name it. And so far, things seem to be working out okay. So don't be scared to do things. So really that brings us to about April of this year. We bought a nuke from a guy down in Cabot, Arkansas, some Cordovan honeybees, which is just my understanding, it's a variation of the Italian bees, but they're little blonde bees, and we love them.
Yes, our favorite.
Very docile and very not energetic, but they're getting after it. We got a nuke, so
their production is
it's off the charts from our other ones. Honestly, we got a nuke of those, which comes with the 5 frames. So I started feeding them immediately. You always want to feed a new nuke when you get it. Give them time to get kind of established in there. They immediately finished drawing out the rest of the 10 frames in that box, so I slapped another hive body on top.
A week later, right?
It may have been. And then they drew out all that comb within a month. So, that puts us about mid-May. But it was just amazing. I kept feeding them because we don't plan on getting any honey from those. And if you don't know, you can't keep feeding sugar syrup if you plan on getting honey from that hive, because they call that funny honey. It don't have any pollen or nectar in it. It's just sugar syrup that they've basically dehydrated and made. It's called funny honey. So we don't want any of that. So anyway, I hadn't fed them really in the last probably month now, but they're getting after it. Heck of a hive, and we'll probably do our splits from them moving forward to try to make more of them carnies is what we want, because we don't plan on buying any more nukes at the moment anyway. We're at 6 hives?
6.
And we want to get to about 15. We harvested our honey. We got 65 pounds of honey, which may sound like a lot or may not, because there's people out there harvesting thousands of pounds. But for us, we were excited. It was 19 frames that we took, and the most exciting part was there's a lot of frames that we left that we plan on getting here in a couple weeks. We were blessed with some rain, so that should push back the dearth, and the dearth is when the nectar flow basically quits and it's time's up. So when that happens, we'll check again, but I think we'll get some more frames to get across your fingers, but hopefully it's even more.
I hope so.
But and that was another experience, getting the honey. We'd never done that before, so like everything else, we just plunged into it. And
we thought, how hard could this be?
Everybody's like, oh, you need a fume board and things like that. We're like, we just brush them off. Well, they're vigorous little creatures, and they really won't stay with that honey. It took us longer than expected to get them off there, but how the saying.
We may eventually get a fume board. Right now, we do not have one. But I mean, we're only going to harvest one more time this year, so we'll just do it the way we have been.
It's like one of them, that saying, work harder or work smarter.
Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, we would sometimes choose harder. So
yeah,
but we got them all out there. Got the 65 pounds of honey, and it was really neat uncapping the honey and putting it through the extractor and then the strainer and then bottling, and then putting it out on Facebook, and everybody and their brother wanting honey. And if you are getting honey from us and watching this, we hope you like the honey.
We wanted to share with you a little bit of how from point A to point B.
Yep, how we get it. So it was really neat. All come together. Again, we got our 6 hives now. We're looking to get to somewhere probably 15. If I was guessing, the time it's all said and done, we'll probably be sitting at 10 at the end of the year next year. We'll take our 6 hives, and we'll at least split the big ones, and we'll probably have to split them all at least once, because those smaller, weaker hives that we've got now, we'll have them built up coming out of winter, and if they're rocking and rolling, we'll split them all. So
I agree. Who knows? I mean, this time next year we may have 25.
That's aggressive.
Bit much.
Yeah, it's taking us about 5 hours to work our 6 hives now, so times that by 3, that's a long day.
There is a lot that goes into beekeeping. It's not, I mean, what you see in the bottle, it takes time to get to that point.
For sure.
But it's totally worth it. I know that we're biased about our honey.
It's the best.
It's the best. It's pretty good. Dave tells me to slow down on it. He says I'm going through it way too fast.
She puts it on zucchini bread and tacos. I mean,
I did not put it on tacos.
that's kind of where we're at. And again, what we decided to do is we've got, like I said, 1,300 hours of bee footage probably. And we realized that probably not everyone wants to watch the 1,300 hours. If you do, let us know in the comments and Tiff will send it to you. Every beekeeper I've ever heard of says, you know, if you ask 2 beekeepers a question, you'll get 3 answers. Or if you ask 10, you'll get 15 answers. And that's true. It is very true. Every situation is the same, yet it's different. So,
and the reason we've learned so much, I think, is because we've not been afraid to just try something new. Because when you're down there in the moment at your hives, all suited up, kudos to those that don't have to suit up, but we do.
we're weaklings and our bees are crazy.
Yeah. So when you're down there in the moment, you can't just phone a friend or your mentor or whatever and say, hey, here's what's going on. What do we need to do? Because you'd really like to take care of the issue right then and there. And so we kind of stand around and discuss it between the 2 of us and come up with a plan. If it works, it works. If not, we go back in next week and try to come up with a different plan.
Yeah, because you know what to do in any given situation. You really only got a couple options, so you just pick the best one that you think will work, and that's the one we go with. So again, we made mistakes doing that, and you just never know. We may have saved bees doing that. So like I said, so far it's worked out. And kind of moving forward, you know, we're going to try to get to, our goal is to get to 10 hives next year. And I guess we're going to start numbering them because it's getting harder to call it the Randy hive, the blue hive, the gray hive, especially since I've been painting them all the same color.
True.
So we got this stain that we really like, and we've been using it. We stained our chicken coop with it, everything with it. So
It just looks,
it's kind of natural. It's kind of dark.
Yeah.
So we like it. But I think we're going to start numbering them, and we'll go from there. But we appreciate you guys watching, and you know, look back through the videos, or if you have any questions or comments, hey, let us know, and we'll get back with you. God bless you. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
I think that might be a virgin queen.
I think so.
They're fluorescent the far out of her.
coming right back to me.
They love you.